He starts making small talk with me and my girls. He's asking things like if they were good girls for Santa, what kind of things do we get, etc.
Dude, what do you want? 'Tis the season for bad holiday traffic, isn't it? Things are getting to the point to where the streets are getting busier, especially around rush hours, and it's surrounding a lot of holiday traffic. You know, I figured with the way the pandemic is going, as well as the increased likelihood of people buying gifts online for other people around this time of year, that we probably wouldn't have the type of traffic that we did in prior years. But I think it's worse. Those places, when you work at a retail establishment like that around the holidays, which I have, it's crazy, man. People could be like very, very, very demanding. Things are always rushed. There's a lot of stress, and there's the occasional very strange customer. If there was any place that I think that all of this comes to fruition in the biggest possible way, it's the mall. The mall is pure retail chaos, right? Now, my memories of going to the mall when I was young were always great. My mom would go clothes shopping. I would hide in the clothing and play around as a little boy. We'd stop at the food court, have some of them awesome pretzels or those delicious corn dogs, maybe a big old slice of pizza and a large drink, and I might even pick up something like a new CD or a toy or a cool electronics device from one of these hobbyist stores. The mall was a nice place to visit, but as I get older and I see the chaos in retail, I'm kind of against going to the mall. I haven't been in a long time, especially with this pandemic. You know, I kind of lay low and go to stores locally to me, and I wouldn't want to work around the holiday season. So the mall by itself is a horror story on its own. But we're going to react to a horror story by Spooked today, and I imagine knowing him is going to be great. Make sure to head on over to his channel, guys, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and if you like reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. Let's get into this story.
So, this happened to me about 5 years ago while I was 9 months pregnant.
Okay.
It was Christmas shopping at the mall with my then 7 and 15-year-old daughters one Saturday night.
All right.
In a very safe city with a very low crime rate.
Cool.
There was an Applebee's connected to the mall, and we ended our shopping pretty late, and the mall stores were starting to close.
Yeah, but the restaurants
So
stayed
I took
open.
my kids to the Applebee's for a late dinner. We finish
Applebee's,
up
aight.
eating at around 10 p.m.
Okay.
and leave out
pretty
the
late.
Applebee's entrance into the practically deserted parking lot with shopping bags in hand. As we got to the car, I was in the middle of maneuvering the shopping bags on my arms to find my keys when a 50-ish-year-old crusty-looking man starts walking up from somewhere in the parking lot with shaggy gray-white hair and a faded flannel shirt and old jeans. I noticed him briskly approaching when he was about 40 feet away.
Briskly. Y'all, fight or flight sets in. You know, like somebody in a deserted parking lot, you with your kids, you 9 months pregnant, you trying to get into your vehicle, you got a ton of merchandise on your arms, and you see somebody starting to approach you and speed up. That's the worst feeling in the world. I hate parking lot approaches so much, y'all. I hate them. I hate when people come up to you. I have never been approached by anyone that I wanted to hear from, see something with, or whatever in a parking lot. No one has ever approached me and I walked away from the situation and been like, man, I'm sure glad that fella or that lady approached me in the parking lot. Not one dang time. It's always a freak. It's always a creep, man. God.
And he said, "This is a stick-up. Give me all of your money."
Oh, he's robbing him.
My blood ran cold, and I stared at him, owlishly, and shakingly said, What? He then said he was just kidding, and came up and stood right next to my daughters, who were standing on the other side of the car.
Just
waiting
kidding?
for me to unlock the car to let them in. He starts making small talk with me and my girls. He's asking things like if they were good girls for Santa, how old they are, if we got all of our Christmas shopping done, what kind of things did we get, etc.
Dude, what do you want? What do you want? Why are you here? So, these are all the questions that I'm asking, but she can't. She's 9 months pregnant. She's got her kids right there. There's a man with no telling what intent that apparently thinks about joking with strangers about robbing them in a deserted parking lot at night is cool or funny. Like, what do you do, man? What do you do? Do you start screaming? Do you start yelling? What does he even want?
He didn't seem drunk, high, slow, or mentally challenged at all.
Deliberate.
He was very coherent and seemed to have a sound mind.
Yep. He wants something.
Mind you, I was a heavily pregnant woman,
Right.
alone with my 2 daughters in a mostly deserted parking lot at 10 o'clock at night, who was being approached by a stranger who came and stood right next to my kids on the other side of the car, just shooting the breeze, talking to me and my kids with his hands in his pockets and occasionally looking over his shoulder. I didn't want to aggravate him, so I was politely conversing with him and trying to look calm and nonchalant while trying to disguise my frantic hands digging inside my giant purse for my car keys.
That's all you could do, unless you tell them, like, you're scaring me. Can you please just leave? At this point, I don't know if trying to diffuse the situation, if you're actually feeling scared, is the right thing to do with someone that clearly has some sort of deliberate intent to make you uncomfortable. Like, you don't know if they're really there to harm you. They may just unknowingly be friendly, but they may not know that they're actually creeping you out, especially if you're like trying to just act like playing it off like, oh, that's funny. You know what I mean? It's you have to watch out for your safety and the safety of your children. But I don't know, man. Do you just communicate with them and tell them like, hey, man, don't get me wrong, man. This is, I'm Merry Christmas and all that, but I'm kind of feeling I'm kind of feeling weird right now. If you don't mind, my family and I are just gonna go. Like, what's that gonna hurt? I don't know if I would be able to retain my composure right now.
This exchange went on for a couple of minutes while he periodically kept looking over his shoulder.
I got a bad feeling, man.
I was silently panicking and trying to politely keep the situation from escalating by calmly and nonchalantly talking to him.
That makes sense.
While also trying in vain to find my damn car keys to get us out of there. I felt that at any moment he was gonna pull a knife or a gun or rob me, and my kids were right next to him, away from their mother on the other side of the car.
Right.
While still desperately digging for my keys, I tried to politely give him hints that the conversation was over.
Okay, good.
My polite attempts to get this guy to leave wasn't working,
Right.
because he kept sidestepping my attempts and asking them what their favorite school subjects are and how nice young ladies they were. Then I suddenly felt this sinking feeling of dread when I realized that I may have lost my keys in the mall and that we were stuck outside with this strange man who kept looking over his shoulders and was showing no signs of walking away.
Oh my God, man.
And I was thinking that he was waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
Yep.
Then, he all of a sudden was all like, okay, it was nice talking with you. See you later. And walked off in the same direction as to which he came. It wasn't until then I found my car keys and unlocked the car and told my kids to get in fast.
Did he see
And I got
something?
in too and locked the doors and started the car and drove the hell out of there. My 15-year-old lightheartedly and jokingly said, okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
And laughed. I was overwhelmed with relief.
Me
And
too.
then I was confused over what just happened. But being that nothing bad happened, I brushed it off and joked about it too. When we got home, my husband greeted us and asked us how shopping went. And I said it went well. And my 15-year-old told him what had happened in the parking lot
Oh my
and how
gosh,
weird
man.
it was. and was kind of joking about it. I started joking about it too, saying how I was mentally having a panic attack while trying to look calm, and I started making fun of myself by telling my husband how I was attempting to inconspicuously rummage through my purse to find my car keys.
So the story's not over yet, and the only thing I can think of is that he was looking for a bigger payoff. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but if mother, 3 kids, nighttime, you know what I mean, pregnant, if you follow her home, how much could you actually get in comparison to robbing them or whatever at that store? Clearly, you're in a very good neighborhood or very good city with a low crime rate. That means that it might be primarily well off, you know, people have money. You got all kind of stuff for Christmas. You probably have a big payoff if they actually follow you home. That's the only thing I'm thinking right now. Hopefully, hubby got some form of protection.
My husband went completely white, and I acknowledged his horrified look of alarm, and I assured him that, albeit creepy, the guy was just talking and eventually left on his own.
Nope.
Now, my father-in-law is a retired sheriff's deputy, and my husband went through police academy training after graduating high school.
Yep.
What my husband told me completely rattled me to the bone.
Oh no.
My husband told me that he was 100% sure that the reason why the guy was hanging around and chit-chatting was because he was waiting for me to unlock my car.
Yeah.
And the reason why he was standing next to our kids was because once I unlocked the car and the kids started to get inside, he was most likely going to force himself into the car with the kids and hold a knife or gun to them to gain leverage on me to force me to cooperate,
right,
knowing I wouldn't abandon my kids, which would force me to get into the car with them and do whatever he wanted me to do.
Right.
Which most likely would be to drive to a remote location to do God knows what.
Yeah.
And being that he wasn't wearing a mask suggests that his intentions were also to leave no witnesses to identify him.
Wow, man. So what would have stopped him from doing that in general, though, is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if he had a weapon with him and that was his intent, would you think it would be the screams? The fact that the lady did not know if she had her keys, maybe the criminal was thinking to himself, well, if she does not have her keys at all, then here I am on foot running away from the scene of a crime. But it seems like somebody with that type of intent wouldn't have waited for the perfect opportunity. They would have just did it. I'm really not sure. But at any rate, that's very, very scary. You know, you being an unsuspecting person, just knowing that something just isn't right and being told that it sounded like a setup from the get-go from somebody that has experience in the crime field. Oh man, that's gotta be chilling, dude. Great story, Spook. Very well said, very well told as well. Make sure to head on over to Spook's channel, guys, and subscribe, as well as a couple other videos that are reacted to from Spook. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time.
Break it down.